fair space pilots. This is CSP Fozzie, joined once again by Apophany, and we have for you another amazing match with a pretty spectacular setup from CAStabouts. This is CAStabouts versus the Initiative here on day one of the Alliance Tournament 12. CAStabouts has brought their flagship, we've been seeing so many flagships, it's really great to see people bring them the first day, but they brought it with only 5 other pilots. This is a Rattlesnake, Navy Scorpion, Tengu, Vulture, Basilisk is all they have. This is their whole team. That is 100 points. Meanwhile, why don't you tell us a little bit about Initiative, Botany?
Yeah, well, the CAS8 going to end to CAS6 with the Initiative. We have a more standard drone-heavy setup. We've got the Neros Logi, 2 EOS, 3 Vector Navies, 2 Ishkars, the drone Galente AF. We've got a Tyrannus, 2 Maledictions, and an Executioner. So an Initiative making use of the Interceptors, which we don't really see a lot of. We usually see 1 or 2. Here we've got 3, so I'm interested to see what their thoughts are behind using them.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the Malediction's obviously very, very fast and nice and durable with the resist bonus, so it's a good heavy-ish tackler for this kind of tournament environment.
Well,
so
match starting, and immediately the Tyrannus and the Malediction of Init burning off way away. The Caldari team CAS balling up, staying close together, starting to fire missiles. Looks like they're going to be landing on. I can't quite see the target.
Yeah, we'll have to see when those missiles actually start landing. We got drones coming across the field on him, but it is going to be one of these. I hope I'm not spoiling anything for anyone at home for it, but because it's not much of a surprise at this point after we've seen them in previous years, this is going to be a Tengu providing the reps for this team. The Basilisk is they're going to be there for the cap transfer. Everyone on the team is sending cap to Tam and Lee, who is going to be their rep goo. And that's going to mean the team has a pretty incredible tank. As we see the Eos of Falsus already taking quite a lot of damage. He's already in about half armor. If they can clear off some of the DPS, then it becomes almost impossible for their ships to lose any members.
If that EOS goes down, that is going to be such a big win for the CAS team. Like every bit of DPS is so important to them to get rid of, because they are trying to out-tank the whole team. They're not trying to, as some teams you trade Logi and then you have a DPS race. If they lose part of their Tinker, they are dead.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see who becomes the primary for the Initiative. Falsus in his EOS is actually holding on just fine. He managed to pull back. They're going to go after Tackermaster instead, or however you pronounce that name. Sorry about the mangling. He is going down quite quickly into half armor, but they were going to see the Nero switch to him very fast.
I mean, I think that they really need to start going after these Vector Navies. Not quite as much DPS as the EOS, but that you don't have those T2 resists, you don't have anywhere near as much buffer, and you're still going to be able to apply pretty well to them.
Yeah, I think that is going to be a good choice. One of the Vector Navies is way at the back of the Initiative fleet, but 2 of them are up at the front, and those would be excellent targets. Especially if they can get a target painter on him. We haven't been seeing a target painter.
DPS now going on to Tinta, the Vector Navy. He's holding rep sign. He's going pretty darn fast, so the explosion velocity of those missiles not going to be doing great to them. They could do with some tackle, but in that small setup where they've maxed out on points, with the small numbers, you just don't have the webs. You've got very few mids for TPs with the shield setup. Like any fast team, they're going to have such a hard time applying DPS to.
I mean, this is going to be an endurance game. It's going to be a big question of whether or not the cap holds out for all the members of these teams. One of the rules we have in this Alliance tournament is you can't fit more than 1 remote capacitor transmitter on each ship. So that means that they can all put their cap onto their 1 remote rep in Tengu, which allows him to run a strong active tank and also to defend the rest of the team. But those ships themselves are going to have to be using cap boosters to keep their own cap going to transmit. They can't generate infinite cap by cycling it amongst themselves.
Looks like DPS going back onto Tackmaster. Oh wait, no, it's going up further. But we do have repair bots on Tackmaster. It almost might be worth, as crazy as it sounds, maybe trying to shoot some of those repair bots, because they are nearly breaking the EOSs, but not quite. Just every little rep counting here.
Yep, I mean, shooting the repair bots would be very good. We are seeing repair bots used on the other side as well. We got shield repair bots on the Scorpion Navy issue of Ufus, who is the primary right now. We're seeing a lot of the damage, of course, coming from these heavy drones as the EOS is used so effectively. What we're not seeing at all from the CAStabouts team is a smart bomb. This is the kind of setup. You're bringing a setup like this where you're so stationary, heavy drones breaking through are going to be a big problem. But that means if you brought a heavy smart bomb on, say, the Rattlesnake, you could pull in your own reps bots, blow up all of the opposing drones, and then get back to doing damage. And that would be
Tackmaster
very
going
powerful.
to low armor. Is he going to break? Is he going to break? Is he going to break?
He's pulling back now, though. Oh, it's so, man, he's like staying quite steadily in that like 30 to 40% armor range. Yeah, he's pulling back now. It looks like they're managing to keep him alive quite effectively. This is right on the razor's edge, though. I mean, if they knocked out these armor bots, they might have enough to bring him down.
It's maybe one of the matches where we go into the reverse tie-dye you mentioned before, and we're going to have to see how that affects the game. Neither team managing to break the other. I mean, CAS team holding reps beautifully, not even going below 50% on that Bazzi, and the EOS is just pulling back every time they get down to 10, 20% armor. They're just managing to stay up. I mean, their nearest pilot.
The new primary for initiative is the Basilisk. So they're going after what they're hoping is going to be a bit of a softer target. It's the Basilisk of Offstrike, who isn't repping, unlike most Basilisks you'll see in EVE in general. He doesn't have any reps fit because you can only fit remote reps to one ship in a tournament team. But he is providing a lot of capacitor to the rest of his team. So they're going to see if they can break him. Meanwhile, Tackmaster got himself all the way back up to full armor and is now back down to about half. It looks like those EOSs are kind of durable enough to keep this fight going to the long term. If we do go to the super fast tie-dye, that's the kind of situation that makes a Tinker, the Tinker is the way you describe these tight-knit remote repping teams, the Tinker logistics pilot drives them insane.
We do have smart bombs coming from, it looks like the Basilisk there?
Basilisk, and looks like from the Vulture. Both
They've taken your advice, Fozzie. They're starting smart bomb drones off. That's going to make life so much easier.
That is
in the reverse tie-dye, as you mentioned, it makes the Logi pilot so hard because you have so much less time to respond to broadcast for reps. I mean, you've got, say a human has a 0.3 reaction second time. If you're going at, 1,000% tie-dye, you've got nowhere near that much time to react to where you need to apply reps to. And I think in that case, that is going to benefit the team with the more players because you're going to have more players that you need to burn through, whereas you've got 6 ships to kill on the CAS side, you've got 12 to kill on the initiative side.
Yeah, there's just more effective hit points on the, once you get past all those resists and everything like that, to just eat through. And you also have to be sending your missiles and your drones after different targets. A team that can spread out like this and spread themselves out amongst more ships is going to have a much easier time when the fight gets that long. That being said, if a lot of those drones are dead by then it's going to be hard to deal damage. We're seeing not only just those smart bombs, but also we're seeing missiles being launched by one of the Tengus, the combat Tengu from the CAStabouts team, is using his missiles to kill off hammerheads.
Yeah, both teams just still hammering away each other, seeing what they can do. The CAStabouts team still trying to bake the EOSs, but it's just not happening. We've got just over 3 minutes left before we start getting into reverse tie-dye, and I do think we are going to be heading there.
Of course, with this Tinker kind of setup where you have a Tengu or a Legion or a Proteus remote repping your team, one of the most famous situations that these setups have ever gotten into was the losers bracket final from the last Alliance tournament, when we saw Pandemic Legion and Exodus in an incredibly tense match like this, where nothing was dying, but there was still a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. And I remember seeing a screenshot of the Tengu pilot from Pandemic Legion that ended up winning that match, of his rack of local repairers and remote shield boosters, all like right at the edge of overheating to destruction. Like, he had to manage everything so well. It really is hard to keep these kind of setups going. And
if you look at it, it's only now the geckos, the things that can really withstand those smart ones, applying DPS to the enemy team. If you can look, you can see the Ishkar's drones are still holding around. We've got hobgoblins just staying off field. They know that there's no point sending them in. They're going to be smart bot off. They're saving. They're waiting for that reverse tie-dye. We're going to have to wait for another just over 2 minutes. But we're going to go from having a stalemate to a sudden hell unleashing fury.
So one of the things we haven't really seen too much in this match to kind of give us signals about is how the fit on the CAStabouts flagship is. This Rattlesnake for CAStabouts, we mentioned at the beginning of the match, is the flagship. That means that he can have faction or officer drone damage amplifiers. It means that he can use officer or faction neutralizers in the highs, and it means he can put a officer or faction shield booster in his mid slots as well for extra boosting in case the Tengu goes down or can't keep up. So that's the kind of thing that hasn't shown off obviously too much right now. It's increasing his damage against these EOSs, but when we go into reverse tie-dye, the fact that this is a flagship may actually start to become a deciding factor now, as we have only 1 minute remaining in the standard fight.
Yeah, I mean, Fozzie, like when we go to reverse Sidao, you said we do think that, Cass is going to be at a disadvantage. Do you think they still have a chance of winning when we get there, or do you think it's a foregone conclusion?
So one of the things that's important about the reverse tie-dye is it scales in bit by bit. It's not going to suddenly, for one thing, we'll never go to 1,000% because then CCP Veritas would come in and get very cross with us. But it's going to start off going to, I forget the exact numbers, but it's going to scale up time for a bit for a minute and then do it again and then again and again. So actually we're going to see it getting progressively harder. So at one point, one team is going to start to fail once their human reaction time just can't keep up. And we're going to see which one of them that is.
It's going to be Logipilot versus
Cam and
Logipilot.
Lee and the Tengu taking a ton of shield damage.
Ooh.
This is a lot of damage you can apply to him. He should have a strong local shield booster because he's the Repper Tengu, has all that cap, but he's still going down really fast. I'm amazed that he actually isn't able to keep himself higher.
All the drones now swarming in. We've got the smaller drones coming as well, the warriors coming in, the hobgoblins coming in.
So the system is now at 1.5 times normal speed. This means that everything in the system is now, you're seeing right now, reverse tie-dye, and he's going to armor.
He's half armor, he's about to go into structure.
The Tengu is breaking. The Tengu is breaking.
Tengu's going down. The Tinker is about
Cam and
to
Lee
go
is
down.
That is the linchpin of the entire CAStabouts team. If they can't, their only hope now is to try to kill off the opposing ships very quickly. They need to knock down DPS, knock out these Vector Navy issues within the next couple seconds, but they're not going to be able to do that. Already a Basilisk down as well.
Boom, Bazzy, gone.
Yes, at this point, it is a foregone conclusion. We are going to be seeing the initiative taking the match versus CAStabouts. They waited until the time sped up, and then they threw everything they had against the Tengu and broke it.
Yeah, like that's just really well played by the init team. They realized what was going on. They came up with a fantastic strategy to deal with it. They waited. They were patient. The Vulture now of Pledging going down. And, they just executed the strategy brilliantly.
Yes.
And I think props to them. They're going to be going on the winner bracket.
0.25 times normal speed. Oh, there it is. We see another Tengu explode. Wow.
This is weird. Can we have this for the giant null fight? So instead of lasting 11 hours, they last about 10 minutes.
Yeah, the servers would actually just pick up a baseball bat and kill me if that happened.
I mean, imagine.
Happy with that.
Mitani's been asking to nerf the slow cat blob, right? Imagine trying to.
That's your idea. Yeah. As we see now, a rattlesnake dropping down. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's very fun to play in these kind of environments. I've played with it on testing. The only way that we can do it in this kind of environment, though, in the tournament, is because we know that there's only going to be 24 ships fighting.
Yes.
And it's not something that works in larger fights. As a Scorpion Navy issue dropping down.
Yeah, there we go.
Time is running at over 3 times speed. And or almost 3 times, 2.5 times speed. And he is dropping very quickly.
Yeah. Again, a pretty one-sided match, but I think it was two very, very cool ideas for teams going up against each other, and it's one of those things where both teams probably hadn't practiced against each other's setup that much with their own
setups. I imagine they would have practiced against something similar, like you would have practiced against a high DPS team, the CAStabouts, and you have to be prepared for what you're going to do against a Tinker, because it is something we've seen before. But obviously, it just wasn't enough in this case. That is going to be the end of the match. We now have the last Navy Scorpion down, so we are going to send you back to the studio for some commercials, and then we'll be back in a few minutes for Unthinkables versus Feigned Disorder.
See you in a bit.